Hey everyone, it's Robin from Center Street Decor, SVGs. I am so excited to paint again today, and I've got the cutest Santa sleigh. This is the project that we're going to be painting today, and I just love it. This is the chunky shelf sitter. So this will stand all by itself. So hope you're all having a good day today. A happy Monday. So if you're hopping on, say hi. If you happen to catch this on the replay, say hi. I'd love to hear from you. So I hope you're all having a fabulous time if you're able to do your fall festivals. Some people are doing a lot of craft fairs at this time, but we've got our Santa sleigh that we're going to be painting today. So we're just going to get to painting. So I'm going to bring you down so I'm going to show you the pieces that are in the project. Sorry if I make you a little dizzy. Okay, so this is Santa's sleigh. So you can it's darting without the little presents in there. Or you can also just add your presents in there. You can actually glue them in there if you want. There's a little bit of wiggle room in here, and that's just because I've used 1/4 inch wood here, and then these are just done with 1/8 inch wood. So they fit in there. Let me show you the pieces that are there for this project. So this comes in the 3 different sizes, the small, medium, and large, and this is the large right here. Oh, and I have the small one over here. So this is the small one, and there's 4 different tags in this set that you can put on your sleigh. We have the Santa's sleigh. This one says, "Just Believe." We have Sleigh Rides, which is the one I'm going to use today. And then we have Here Comes Santa. So those are the tags that come in with the set. And the tags are sized in all the different sizes, the small size, medium size, and large size. Or you can mix it up. You can put a large tag on a small sleigh. You can mix them up however you want. So we're painting the medium sleigh today. So let me show you the pieces I've already got going today, because the base coat I just used the MDF wood. The base coat takes a few coats. I think I did like about 4 coats of the yellow, I use this King's Gold apple barrel, and it takes several coats just because it's so light. Okay, so let me show you how this goes together. So we have the top piece, and it has a separate piece for the sleigh, the rungs. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but for that piece right there, the rails, maybe the rails. And then we have the solid sleigh, and then we have the pieces so it will be wide enough to hold your gifts. Now, if your wood is really thin and can work just fine on, just the one layer, I have 2 that I'll be using because there was not quite enough room with just 1 layer when I doubled up here on my presents. So I have the 2 layers right here that will go here, and then here is the back of the sleigh. So the middle pieces, we don't need to do anything with. There is a little bit of prep work that we will do for the back piece, which I usually don't paint, but this time we are. I'm actually going to paint the rails. Is that what you call that? The rails. So if you see on the Santa sleigh, when it's standing up, you can see through here to this rail. And so I wanted to paint that underneath here. So we're just going to paint that gold just like we do this top layer here. And then the only other prep work we did is we're going to just use a baby wipe and wipe inside of the back piece here. Because if you could see, without the presents, I'm not sure if you can see that there, but without the presents, it just needs a little bit of color added to that. So we will do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do those back pieces. I'll come back to the presents in just a minute. We'll get those going. And I'm just going to use a baby white. The baby white just makes it a quick, easy kind of a wash look. And we're just gonna wash it on here. And then we're also gonna do the back piece. Okay, so just anywhere where it's gonna show, so where these pieces, when they glue together, you can see that's all we need to do is that area right there. And then I like to do the back as well. So I like to have my pieces finished. Did I do these? Oh, I did do these. But I didn't do the back of my presents. We can do those as well. Okay, so just a quick wash. That's all we're doing. With the baby white being wet, it really helps to rub that paint along there. And remember, with the chunky shelf sitters, this is 1/4 inch. I've used 1/4 inch plywood. So they can be chunky and they can stand on their own. Okay, so that's the back piece. So I'm just going to set this up a little bit and just let it dry. And remember, I still want to paint those rails gold. Okay, so we will do the rails in just a minute. Let's go ahead. We're just going to do our red on here. And with our presents, you can see, so the red I did with, and you can paint your presents however you want. These two pieces are obviously together, and there's a score line, so you can paint just on one side, a color on each side of the score line. So that's how that works. And then here is our small present that will go on the top, because these are the large presents. They're obviously a different size than these. So I'm going to do the red bow on top of here. And then that has the package top right here. So I'm going to paint that red. And then we'll do our sleigh. And let's go ahead and I'm like, where's my red paint? It's right in front of me, you guys. Okay, let's get our red out. I'm going to get my little readers on, my little reader glasses. I like to use them. So I actually just use sponges to paint these, but if you wanted to use a brush, you could. So this is just going to be a little bit of red. And remember, we're going to have this top piece right here that's going to sit just below the bow. So it's okay if you come into the present just a little bit, because it's going to be hidden by that rectangle piece right there. Okay, and then we're going to do our, I probably got way too much paint, but we're going to go ahead and just paint our sleigh. Now, because I have these score lines, I want to be careful not to get into these score lines. So I'm just going to brush straight across with my sponge. And this is kind of the technique I showed you when I painted those darling sweet angels the other day. This is just the same technique. I'm just pulling the paint across. And I'm not worried about getting on these rungs here. Rungs. This part down here, I'm not worried about it because this is going to fit over the top of it. So, and if you get some of your paint, get a toothpick or a poker tool. If you get a little bit of paint in those little areas that you don't want, then just clean it out really quick. If you're more comfortable with tapping, you can do that however you like to paint it. If you like to use a paintbrush, you just want to be careful not to get in those score lines. Score lines add that fun detail to our Santa's sleigh. Just pull in the paint, and don't have too much paint on your sponge, especially when you're going in this curved area, or it might get down in there. You might not want that in there. So I'm just trying to be really gentle. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then I'm going to come back and add a little bit more paint to our package top. I guess it's kind of like a lid. I designed a lid for the package. We'll call that the lid. And then our bow here. Just give it one more coat. Okay, I'll just set that aside and let it dry. We might need to do one more coat on the lid, but we'll see. Okay, so let's do, this is probably dry. Whoops, there goes my sleighs. Falling over on each other. Okay, let's go ahead and do our gold. I'm going to set these pieces aside. So the gold I like to use, the one I have somewhere around here. Oh, this is just called Kim's Gold. I've had this for a long time, but any type of a gold you have will work really good. And this gold, it gives such good coverage. It's not a sheer gold. It's nice and opaque because I usually only have to do one coat. So I'm going to do a sponge again, but I just want a small piece of sponge. So I'm going to take the sponges that I used, just a makeup sponge, and I'm going to cut it into quarters. So when I use in a smaller area, I like to use just small pieces. So I just put them off to the side, and that way I have them handy when I need them. So let's do the rails. So remember, I wanted to do the back in gold, just so it gets a little bit of the coverage because you see it through when it's standing on your shelf. Now this one I'm going to tap quite a bit off, as much off as I can. Just going to go back and forth along here. And I am going to come up into the swirls as well. Just going to keep just tap, tap, tap. I suppose I don't want to rub too much on all these swirls because I'll probably get the paint inside those swirl grooves, and I don't want to do that. So that's why tapping works for me on this area. And like I said, I only need to get one coat, so I want to just make sure to get good coverage on here. Just tap, tap, tap. Okay. Hi, Mom.
Was you gonna eat your breakfast?
Yep, in a little bit. I'm just doing a live right now.
Okay.
I know, I left my breakfast in there. My mom lives with us right now, so, well, she'll live with us for forever. I make my oatmeal and I put it in the microwave, and then I forget about it because I come and craft. So here it is, lunchtime, and I'm still got my oatmeal in there, you guys. Okay, so again, have your poker tool handy just in case you need to clean any of those grooves. So I'm just tapping very lightly so I don't squish it in those score lines. There's no score lines on this one, on this piece, so you don't need to worry about that one. But this one has the score lines on the front. It's really detailed and I love it. I love all the swirls on here. So just tap very lightly, just not to squish it in your score lines. And the sleigh comes together really quick. Of course, if you've seen a lot of the SVG files that I have available, most of them paint up really quick, I would say. I'm getting kind of crazy, so I'm going in my score lines, so I'm just going to clean them out. I wipe my poker tool off and clean them out. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay, so we can set that a piece aside. This piece aside, I don't do any shading or any highlighting on this piece. I just let it be a solid gold. And I think what I would like to do is give this red one more coat, so it's a little bit brighter. And again, remember, I just kind of dragged the color. Just dragged it gently over the top of those score lines. Oh, see, I got a little crazy and I got inside the score lines. That's okay, have your poker tool handy. Clean them out. And then I just tap very lightly over it, because sometimes there's a ridge that gets lifted up with the paint. So, oh, the tool that I'm using, Laura, is this what you're talking about? This is a poker tool. So this has a very pointy end. So a toothpick works just fine too. But this is actually just purchased from the Dollar Tree. So this tool, it comes in a set of two. There's a lid that comes on it, which is always handy for safety reasons because it is really sharp. So this is what this is. Yep. So it's a poker tool from the Dollar Tree. That's where I purchased that. Yeah, so anything with a nice point on it. Like I said, a toothpick can work. In fact, I have toothpicks over here that I use. So a toothpick would work fine too. Actually, the poker tool probably works better for me because it has a very sharp tip, more so than a toothpick. So I think that looks great. That's all we're going to do on that. We're just going to set that aside and dry. So we've got those pieces. So let's come back to our adding some more detail on our presents. So this one here, I added some white. I added the white lid and then the polka dots. And we'll get some of the detail done in just a minute. We have the sleigh done. Let's add our white. You are very welcome, Laura. I'm happy to share the tools I get. There are several things from the Dollar Tree actually that I like to use. I love to use their furniture markers on any of the edges if I go over the edges to clean up. Yeah, there's lots of things. Okay, let's get another one of the small pieces. I'm going to tap some of this white off. I'm going to go very gently so I don't go too much over the edge. Remember, you have that box lid top that's going to go on your present. So I can come down just a little bit into the present. Okay, and then we'll do the box lid as well. And this will probably need another coat. So, and I've got my sleigh ride. This is my my tag that we're going to be using on this sleigh. So this one we're going to paint too. And again, just like when we're painting here, you want to paint it very carefully so you don't get it in those. This one is engraved where the others wasn't scored because I like to do my letters engraved. Some people do them scored, and that's okay. So I'm just going to tap very gently, and again, just gently over the top because you don't want to squish into those engraved lines. You want to still be able to read. So just when you do these, if you haven't done the tags before, less paint is better. Just starting with a little bit of paint and then adding a little bit more. Because if you just start with too much at the beginning, well, then you got to use your poker tool to clean out. And sometimes it gets a little tricky to clean out. I've just got all kinds of bouncing going on, don't I? So I'm going to get a little bit more paint. I think I'll add one more to this red right here. Okay, again, just a light touch. I'm not on there very good. Just tap, tap, tap very gently. Okay, so if you can see that, I was really careful. And now you can see, you can still read the sleigh rides, and that's what you want. You want to go just gentle enough so you don't go in those engraved lines. Okay, we'll just let that dry. Let's add, oh, this one's dry. We can add a little bit to the top of our present here. Let's start adding some of our detail. So what I did on this package, the yellow package, is I just add some lines. And I just did some red and some just the green, the same green I did here. And you can use just a fine liner. And what this is actually an eyeliner tool. You buy these in a pack of 100 on Amazon. I think it's only about $7 or $8 for a pack of 100, so you can share them with all your friends if you have lots. So it's very fine, and I have actually just used the same one over and over and over. So I have a package that will last me forever. I probably will never need to buy another set. So I like to just get it a little bit wet and add it to my paint. We're just going to start with the red. And then I'm just going to draw some lines. So, and if you look at my my lines are not straight. I'm not trying to be anything perfect. I like a little bit of water, so my paint is a little on the thinner side. So I'm just going to draw just some lines. And you can see they're not perfect at all. I just keep on going. And then when I run out of paint, I grab a little bit more paint. So I'm just going to do just crisscross. Come over here. You need to fill in a few of those lines. You can. So if you see, not perfect at all. I'm not going for perfection. I'm just going to have some fun lines, add some fun detail. And I'm going to let that dry. Got a little bit of a thicker area up here, so it might take a second to dry, a little bit longer to dry. Let's see how these are doing. We might need to add a little bit of white. So remember, just jump from piece to piece when you're painting. Add a little bit more white on there. A little more white on here. And I see that I need to add another little bit of yellow. So I didn't finish the top of this one. So we're going to add a little bit to that one as well. So what I did on here is I did some polka dots, and I just used another Dollar Tree find, So this is a stylus tool. There's tiny little ball on one end and then a larger ball on the other. So I'm actually going to use the large one on this one. So if you look at this package, it's at an angle, a little bit of an angle. So I am thinking I want my dots to go down this way. So I'm ignoring this piece right here. This piece is added just so it fits nicely in your sleigh. So just kind of pretend like this piece isn't here. And it's not going to show at all, this corner piece right here. It's not going to show when it's tucked in your sleigh. So I need to add just a little bit of green right up here. I see I didn't get quite to the top up here. Just going to add a little bit. Okay, we'll let that dry. And while that's drying, we'll do the rest of our stripes. It's just kind of like a fake plaid look that I'm making. Okay, so when I did the stripes on here, so I did my red stripes and then my green stripes, I'm going to think of a green stripe. I'll dry this for a second. There's a green stripe really close to each of the lines here and then here and here. So really there's 2 green lines in this section. So that's just how I did my plaid. That's just kind of, that worked. Again, like I grabbed a little bit of water on my brush because I want it to be loose. I'm going to go close to this line, close to this line. That makes sense. Add a little bit color because I was running out of paint. Close to this one, close to this one. And if your paint just seems too dry, you can add a little bit of water. And then I'm going to pretend there's a line right over here. So same thing when I turned it, I'll go close to each of the red lines. And on the opposite side. So not straight at all, I'm not going for anything perfect. There, that's it. Those are our lines on there. So don't think your lines have to be perfectly straight or anything. Just go with it. And there's a little bit of thick, a little bit of thin, but don't even worry about that at all. Okay, let's come back. And I just rinse this off really good and I put it over to the side and it dries and it's ready to go for the next use. You can throw it away. Oh, I got a little bit of, a drop of water on my sleigh here. There we go. Okay, so remember, just pretend like this piece isn't here and just start doing your dots. Let me get some more white paint. And your dots don't have to be perfect either. So, but what I usually do is I'll just start dot straight down. And then the next set of dots I try to go in between what I just did. Start again here and then in between. And then if you want your dot a little bit bigger, go over the top of it. So over here, and then in between, and come down if you want. There, that looks good. And we've got the top that's going to cover up right here. So you don't need to do that piece if you don't want to, but I just did it. So you can too. Okay, and then I just use either a paper towel or a wipey, whatever I have, wipe off the end of my stylus and put it away in my little container over here. Lots of little containers to hold all my supplies. Okay, so you can see I have different size dots, and that's okay. If you like them to be more perfect, you can like go back and dot, grab paint, dot, paint, dot. But I don't mind that they're different sizes. I'm okay with that. So the dots are going to take a few seconds to dry, or longer than a few seconds. It's going to take a little bit to dry. So I'm going to set that aside. Okay, so I want to add a little bit of splatter. So if you can see on my slate, I've got some splatter going on, some white little dots. So that's what I want to do. And I put splatter on the sleigh, and then I splattered also my little present here. So we're going to do that. However, I don't want to splatter my bow. So I'm actually just going to cover it up with just a piece of tape right here. I don't want to splatter the bow. I'm not worried about this getting splattered on it because it's going to be covered up by our gold piece right here. So whatever you don't want splattered, just try to move it out of the way as much as possible. Because for me, I think I'm just splattering one little area and I don't know what happens. Sometimes it goes in different places. It doesn't always stay exactly where you want. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. In fact, I think I'll just take this piece right here and kind of cover up some pieces because I don't mind if they get a little splatter. And I'm just going to use a little bit of I'm going to use a toothbrush. You can put a glove on if you want, or you can just have a baby wipe ready to wipe your fingers off. Okay, so I'm just dipping my paintbrush in a little bit of water. I just want a tiny bit wet. The tiniest bit. And then I'll dip in my paint right here. And then I'm just going to fleck it right on here. So it's going to create like snow. So you can go as much as you want. Kind of love the splatter look. Okay, so I think my sleigh's good, but I want to get more splatter on my present. So I'll move the sleigh out of the way, and now I'm just going to kind of go crazy. There. Just so it's a lot of splatter. Okay, that's good. And then I usually just dip my toothbrush. I have a container of water over here, and I just dip my toothbrush in there, and then I might take a baby wipe and wipe off this glove, and then I will reuse this glove. You got to save a penny where you can, right? So I'll reuse that glove. I'll just stick it in my drawer and it will dry. Okay, let's come back to our little presents and start putting them together. I'm going to take the tape off, and I'm glad I did that. Otherwise, it would have got a lot of splatter on the bow, which is not where I wanted it. Okay, let's take our little pieces off here. And if you want to clean up any of your edges with a little bit of a paint pen, or you can use a paint pen, or this is a furniture marker from Dollar Tree. And this is actually my brown. I prefer the black. Black is my favorite. It comes in a package of 3, the furniture markers. There's black, brown, and then a burgundy color. I never use that color. Every once in a while I'll use the brown, but to cover up a lot this white, I'm just going to go over just the edges, just a little bit. And I don't know if you can see on camera, but it just cleans it up. Just makes them look a little bit smoother. And this one's not bad at all. Okay, let's glue, and I'm just going to start using the stick fast glue. Just going to put a little bit of glue on each piece here. This is where all the fun comes because we get to start putting it together. And I'm just going to add it right on the top of the package. Just like that one. Okay, let's bring this one over here. My dots are almost dry. I can see some are still a little bit wet, but it's okay. We can put this on, and you can see how I just tap. I tap on the paper towel, that glue, just so it won't squish out. I just give a little tap. So see, I just turn it over so I don't get too much glue. There. There's our packages. And then if you want to add a little bit of shading, you can. I usually do. If you look at this one, there's a little bit of shading around the edges, so you can do that if you like. And I might add just a little bit. Let me grab one of my angle brushes, and I'm just going to take that burnt umber color, and that's what we use to put the just rub the brown on here. I've got a little bit right here, so I'm just going to use that. Just dip my corner in. And pull down. And it really helps, especially if you didn't go make your line perfect here, because I usually don't. So it just helps with that. Helps kind of blend those colors. And then I'll just go on the edge, across the bottom, just really quickly. There. And if you want to go right underneath, like the lid of your package, you can. Just to create a shadow. You can do that. You can also do the shadowing before you add your lids, which I didn't think about doing, but down this other side right here. Okay. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of highlight. So just using some white. And I don't really need to worry about the top of this package. So just same thing, dip the corner in. And then I'm just going to touch across. I've got a lot of water in my brush. I had a drip that just dripped down into my bristles. So I'm just going to highlight here. You won't really see the highlight in the white. You could do it if you want, but I'll just highlight a little bit on top of these bows. You can highlight just on top of the package. Okay, and then the only thing I want to do is add a little bit of highlight. You can also shadow around your sleigh if you want, but I'm just going to do highlight. I'm not going to do the darker, I'll just do the lighter. I'm just going to bring it across the top, around. almost out of white, but I think I have just enough to do this. And then I'll just bring it around the top. There. So that's it. Let's put our sleigh together. Okay, let's start with the base. Actually, I think I'll go ahead and I'll glue my little package onto the other one. Just anywhere you think that your package should go. I do it more on the yellow part than I do the yellow package than I do the green, but wherever you think it needs to go. And then just try to make sure that that bottom is straight. There, let that dry. Let's do the base. So now let's add our pieces that are going to add our pocket. This is our pocket right here. Just adding a little bit of glue to these pieces. A little bit more in front of me. So just feel with your fingers so everything just lines up. If you use the stick fast glue, it will stick your fingers together. Once you get it where you want, just hold it in place for a few seconds. Okay, I add the second piece because I need a little bit more thickness so my package will fit in here. You could also put greenery in here too. So if you wanted to do, instead of adding the packages, you could add a sleigh full of greenery. That would be really cute too. Okay, let's add the sleigh on there. And again, you're just going to fill at these edges to make sure that they are lined up. Okay, you see our sleigh coming together? Cute, huh? Let's hold it for a few seconds, and then we'll put the rail on here. And I don't want the glue to squish out too much on this one, so I am going to turn it upside and just tap it just gently on my paper towel. So there's not too many big globs on there. So again, fill with your fingers to line everything up. Once you get it where you want, just hold it in place. Okay, so there is our sleigh. Super cute, right? Oh my goodness, it's so cute. So what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of shadow to my, actually it's just a gold. I add just a little bit of gold on the edge, around the edge of our tag. And you can just leave it plain like that if you like that. But I'm going to add a little bit of gold. And I'm going to rub it to blend the color. And then I'll just pull it along the edge. Just let that dry a second, and then I'll go on the two other edges. So while that is drying, I gotta grab my glue gun. It's plugged in across the room because I didn't know if I was going to use my heat tool. So I'll unplug my heat tool and I'm going to grab my glue gun real quick. It's already been plugged in. Well, darn, I just realized it's already been plugged in, but there's a switch to turn it on. It's not even hot. Darn it. Oh well, that's okay. I can just kind of show you what we're doing for the finishing touches. I use the glue gun to add some of the greenery onto our sleigh. Okay, probably won't get hot enough as soon as I want it, but we'll see. Okay, let's add a little bit more gold to the edges of our tag. And I'm just going to just straight down here and here. Okay, so what I did with my little tag, and I'll let that dry just for a second, I put a little bit of green ribbon, which this is like, I had this gold cording for a really long time, so I found a really good use for it for this sleigh. So we're going to use this cording. I'm not sure why I've got all of these pieces in here, but I do. So we're going to use this gold cording. This should be a big enough piece to tie a bow. Let's see. The other one's a little longer. I'm going to use that. I like to use a little bit more ribbon than I think I need, just so I can tie my bow. And then I want the tails to hang down a little bit. Okay, so what I did is I just have some of this greenery here. I've just got greenery, Christmas greenery that I have in a bag. And then I have these little picks that I have had for a few years. So this is kind of what I use to add a little bit of funness. If you don't want to put greenery inside your sleigh, if you want to put the presents in it. So I just added some fun stuff going on the outside. And I use the hot glue to glue all of this on, just so it just works better than for me the stick fast. So I've got some wire cutters here that help me cut things. So if my glue gun would heat up really fast, let's go ahead and tie our bow. I'm going to use this longer piece. So I just want to poke it through this hole. And I'm just going to put, this is a bead tool. Instead of trying to get this little piece through this hole, I'm just using the bead tool. I love this thing. It's called an easy beater. Found that on Amazon, which helps when I'm doing like beaded garlands. And it helps for this, just to pull your ribbon or your twine through these holes. So I'm just going to tie just a little loop, and then I'll tie a bow. Okay, and then just maneuver your bow. Got kind of a lot going on with this bow. There. You can do big loops or little loops, however you like it. And then that's how, if you don't want to add greenery at all, you don't need to add greenery because it's super cute without greenery. There. And I want the tails to be a little bit long. Okay, well, let's get our greenery ready to add, just in case the heat tool decides to heat up. So I just take just little pieces off. Some of these can just be broken off. So just lay it on there, decide where you want your greenery. I think I just use 2 pieces like that. And then I have a piece of this white that will stick up right there. And then I have this twig stuff. I think this was a Valentine find. but I keep it in my Christmas stuff. And I just pull it and pull the berries off. This is actually 2 of the berries hooked together. And I did add 3 berries. I don't know. I think somebody said that 3 is always a good number. Like when you're doing flower arranging, group of 3s. Okay, so we'll add our tag last. So just kind of decide. I usually kind of in this area is where I put my greenery. But if you want to put your greenery back here, my goodness, that would be really cute too. Up there. Let's see if our glue gun has got. Oh, there we go. We've got some glue coming out. Gonna work for me. Then I just stick it in here. Just kind of pile it on top of each other because I put the tip of the tag on top of this. It's not completely hot enough in there, but we're gonna make it work. Let's put some of that in there. See if we can get our berries in there. And one more berry. I have another little helper right here so I don't stick my fingers in the glue. There. Okay, so now my sleigh ride. Now what I did is I actually put another piece of wood on here, and I call those a riser. So anytime you have, put my cabinet, anytime you have like little bits when you're cutting with your laser, like I have little bits from different pieces, sometimes I save those, and so we're going to use just a little piece right here. I've got like little squares, like tags that didn't work out, didn't cut all the way through. Anyway, so I'm just going to use just a piece as a riser. Call it a riser. Just putting that on there because it won't be shown. Okay, let that sit there for just a second. And then what I want to do is I want to get, whoops, there goes my glue gun. I want to get a good amount of glue, hot glue right here. And that's where the tip of my tag is going to sit. And then because I want, this is going to be wood on wood, then I use the stick fast. So right here, so just stick that right in that glue. And then I have my piece on here that's my riser. Oh, darn it, I did this once before where I have glue on my fingers. And so I pulled up some of the paint. We're going to try to fix it. Because you don't want to just throw the whole thing away, right? You want to fix it. So I'm going to use some of my white paint. Okay, let's get a little bit of white paint. And we're going to use a sponge. We're going to fix that. So I'm just going to tap right over the top of that. So again, being careful not to go into those engraved lines. Yay, I think it fixed just well. And then if you need to add a little gold on the edges, which I might need to do. But that is our sleigh, you guys. Isn't it cute? Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And here's our presents. So we can tuck our presents right inside. I think that turned out really, really cute. You guys like it? I love it. So this is the Darling Little Sleigh, and it is available as an SVG file in the shop already. So, so cute. Think of all the possibilities of what you could add in there. That would be so fun to add maybe a little bit of fun greenery or anything you want. So we just finished off the back. So it has like a finished look to it. And this is our sleigh rides. All right, everybody. I'm so glad you hung out with me today. And if you are catching this on the replay, say hi. Let me know that you were able to see our sleigh, putting our sleigh together. Tip you back down, but so fun, you guys. Oh, I just love this sleigh. I think they turned it out. So now I have all three sleighs done, the three different sizes. So I will be putting these back here. I'm going to put my angels back here, and then I can take my fall down because my fall stuff I want to put in my corner hutch, decorate my corner hutch. Because I just took the summer stuff down, and now I want to put the fall and Halloween stuff in my summer hutch. But anyway, I think the sleigh turned out super cute, and I hope that you will paint it. And if you paint it, show me a picture. I love it. Okay, everybody, have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.